because it truly touched my heart. And you know, it's interesting how we come together in these situations and connect on that level. Thank you for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure.
Honoured to have you. So Margaret, I want to start by, I guess, letting the audience find out a little bit more about you and your story. I know you've got a very interesting history. So would you mind sharing with us a bit of your journey and about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Margaret Elisa Lee. I was actually born in a refugee camp in Thailand. My parents were escaping the Khmer Rouge. And after that, I actually ended up living in Italy. So, you know, from the moment that I was born, it's been an obstacle race, literally, dodging landmines for them. But, you know, as you evolve and grow into your skin as a child and as a woman and as a human being, you know, you do the whole human experience. Yeah, life happens for you, right? You know, as you know, Pauline, like I said, I've heard your story. Absolutely incredible. It's sort of pushed me in the direction of becoming who I am today. You know, it's some of the things that I've experienced I wouldn't wish upon anybody, but I wouldn't change a thing because it's made me who I am today. You know, resilient, strong, determined, focused, and yeah, that's you know, that's us, isn't it?
Yeah. So our topic tonight is really focused around sort of that crisis to courage. I know everyone who's listening or watching, Margaret Elisa Lee actually has a podcast as well, where she does talk about and share other people's stories. So I know that's something she's really passionate about. And I'm wondering, would you like to share a bit about, I guess, what is crisis? What does that mean to you? And how has that sort of come about in your life to sort of help you transform?
Yeah. So everybody has a story, don't they? Everybody has an adventure in life. For whatever reason they are where they are today, it's come about because of something that's happened within their life for them. And I noticed that, you know, with relating back to the podcast, as adults, for some reason, we stopped sharing stories. You know, we stopped sharing like children do. Children have no hesitation, right? If you ask them a question straight up, they will tell you, like, you know, have a bit of a muffin top, or they'll tell you exactly what they're thinking, right? So I thought it's so important for adults to do that now, because the opposite of expression is depression, you know, and all of us at some stage have experienced that. So I thought, why not create a platform from people from all over the world? And I've had some amazing guests on already. I only launched it because, you know, I realized that there was a need for adults to start sharing stories again about what they've been through, you know, how they became who they are. And I've had some amazing guests on. I mean, I had a woman who was on sharing a story about not knowing she was pregnant. You know, in the 3D world, this is like taboo. Like, how do you not know you're pregnant? But, you know, as a woman, and I'm sure that you can understand, sometimes it's not a regular cycle. You know, it's talking about the real things that are happening within our lives today. You know, my podcast is really about heart-to-heart connection, human connection, really getting to know who I'm speaking with. You know, it's one of the reasons that I connected with you so well, because we didn't know each other before the challenge. And thank you, 𝗙𝗲𝗄𝗏, for, you know, doing what you do, because I love 𝗙𝗲𝗄𝗏. He's such a beautiful, soul-centered family man. You know, he's doing what he loves because he loves it. And it was through his video challenge that we met. But yeah, even connecting with yourself, I realized, like, there are so many people on the planet that don't have celebrity status, that don't have a label, don't have a title, all of that. We're just everyday people sharing from heart to heart what we've experienced to bring us to where we are today. And that's why I launched Emerge From Your Box podcast, to give people
us a
opportunity.
Give us a show of your background. Have a look.
That's
look at that.
That's my business logo.
That is incredible. And is that something that you created yourself, like you designed it, or how did you go about that?
Yes, I did. I think the human condition is like the lotus and the diamond, right? So it takes no pressure, no diamond. And with the lotus, you know, no mud, no lotus. And I really think that is the human condition. I feel like, you know, so many of us are conditioned in the way that we think, that we feel, that we act, and who we are, that sometimes we forget who we are, you know. And I love, remember who you are. We were born absolutely internally flawless and perfect, but for some reason along the way, things like expectations, limitations, fears and all of that come up, which is completely normal. We're humans. We're going to have emotions, sort of lead us in that direction. But that's how I came up with that logo. It's, I guess, combining the lotus and the diamond, which is the masculine and feminine energy, together to be able to really truly express yourself instead of depressing whatever it is that not allowing your soul to be its authentic self is what I'm all about. And that's how the logo was born.
Wow, that is so incredible, and it's so powerful as well, and meaningful what you have created with that. Because I don't know if I could think that deeply to come up with that kind of concept. But that's one of the things I love about you, is that I think that you're able to really go deep within the human experience, within like the consciousness. There's this word that we are exposed to, and Joe Dispenza, I think one of your idols, talks about as well. But can we go into that a little bit, because I think it's like a very foreign concept for a lot of people, and how does it all work with that side of things? Like, what does it all mean? How does someone connect to their heart?
Yeah, so for me it was a few stages, to be honest. I think my first exposure to neuroscience, neuroplasticity, and that sort of realm, and the concept and word of consciousness, was through a book that I read, which was called The Brain That Changes Itself. It's a book by Norman Deutsch, and I actually got to meet the author, so I'm really grateful for that. But it elevated my perception of the way people do things, the way people have done things, and the things that people can achieve outside of what we're told and taught and shown and led towards. So that happened in 2012, but I sort of put it aside, and I sort of went along with life. But it was in 2017 where I had just come out of a really tumultuous relationship. I won't go too far into the details, but basically it led me to a journey of asking, who am I, and who am I not, and what seed was planted, like, who am I at the core of who I am? Because I'd come out of a relationship, all these things, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, I was absolutely drained. There was nothing. I was at rock bottom. And I ended up going to the Dead Sea in Israel, which is literally the lowest point on earth, because I thought,
wow. A little bit frozen here. Oh, you're back. Did we freeze?
I think we did.
We'll continue. I think we got to the part where you said you were literally at the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth.
Yeah, which is a really good segue to talk about consciousness, right? When you're literally at the lowest vibration in your life, that's when you're prone to things like disease.
We're frozen again. We are back. How's the network? Is it just like a bit? Is that all right now?
I can hear you okay. I can see you okay.
Okay, yeah, you keep freezing on me. That's all right. Anyway, so yeah, you're talking about the vibration.
Yeah, so I hit a point in my life in 2017 where literally I hit rock bottom in my life in all areas. And to be honest, I just decided to go on a holiday, to find myself. I went to New Caledonia first. And when you come out of a long-term relationship and you don't know who you are, like, it really forces you to look in the mirror and say, what is this all about? Who am I? Like, who am I not? I started asking myself all of those questions. And when I was in the Dead Sea, I came back I was actually in Cyprus with a friend at the time. I found 𝗖𝗍𝗶𝗀𝗃. I found his DVD, Evolve Your Brain. And I thought, I could watch a yoga or Zumba, one of those DIY at home kind of videos,
Yeah.
or watch this DVD, which I knew nothing about. Like I
Oh,
said, I had exposure to neuroscience and neuroplasticity through Dr. Norman Doidge, but I'd never really gone deeper into it. So I started watching Evolve Your Brain, and I thought, wow, like that DVD changed my life. So long story cut short, I decided I really love what he's talking about. He's talking about, people basically projecting the inner world in the outer world. And I asked myself questions. I'm like, why did I manifest this abuse, this rage, this anger, this world? What was it that I was putting out there? What frequency was I putting into the universe to bring this into my world? And it was through doing the work with 𝗖𝗍𝗶𝗀𝗃 and understanding the human conditions, how neuroplasticity works, like neurons that wire together, fire together, those sort of things. If people aren't familiar, please do yourself a favor. I know that Pauline, you've read the book. You've started reading the book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself.
Yes, that is a good one that you introduced me to. It's a good one for anyone who's interested, who's just getting started on the journey of wanting to understand themselves more and the habits that they have. So anyone interested, that's a good one from 𝗖𝗍𝗶𝗀𝗃.
Yeah, that book is amazing. It's a segue to learning about, the point of life I've discovered, and I don't know the answers. This is my perception. This is my interpretation of what I've gone through. It's about learning and then unlearning and then relearning what works for you. There is no right way. There is no wrong way. It's all about, how that unfolds in your life. So, yeah, long story cut short, I basically, became his biggest fan. I had the opportunity to meet him. I stalked him. I did. The following year, at becoming Supernatural in Melbourne, I decided to, go and get his autograph and everything. But this is the thing about people like 𝗖𝗍𝗶𝗀𝗃. They don't want to be idolized. They're not the type of people that want to, be your guru or want you to worship them or anything. It's about installing the skills within yourself to be able to come to the awareness and realize, who am I? Remember who you are. They really give you the emotional toolkit on how to do that. And it was, repetition. When I started my journey, someone said to me, do you meditate? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't even sit still for 2 minutes. You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But look, long story cut short, I decided to take the journey and have followed that path into quantum physics, neuroscience, neuroplasticity, epigenetics. And I decided to, I made a decision last year after going on a cruise with him for 10 years. Oh, sorry, 10 years. Yeah, I wish.
Oh, wow. Been on a cruise 10 years.
10 days. 10 days in the Mediterranean with him and some of my most amazing friends. I started my consciousness journey with a coach, and she was an amazing segue to get me to, come to understand, become aware of myself. That's what it's all about, becoming aware of yourself, really being present in the moment, loving who you are, because we're born perfect, but for some reason, limitations and conditioning, all of these things happen. You forget to be who you are at heart, like kids. This is why I'm so passionate about the inner child work. After that cruise, I realized there was something else. There was something that I needed to do to give back. There's no way that my life as an obstacle race, and I've been through it all. I've been through the physical transformation, the mental transformation, the emotional transformation, and the spiritual transformation. And those things never end. There's always a new layer. At the start, it's survival. It's all about you. How do I get out of this? And then eventually it becomes about, how do I teach you so other people in that situation where I was can build a bridge to where they were, to where they are, and, come home to who they are. And it's that journey, making that journey from your head into your heart that people struggle with. And I thought, okay, I've achieved what I have today, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. We're always working on ourselves, right? But if I've been able to do that, coming from, an abusive childhood, domestic violence, financial disruption, I was depleted. The battery, I was underneath the 0%. like way down there. But, I know that you get this, because you know, I've heard your story and it made me cry. Like, I was like, oh my God, how has this beautiful woman survived what she has, and you know, come out to want to give back to people. I don't even know what the question was, but
that's how deep in it she is. Like, you know, that's amazing. Like, I love that you've been like, you are a queen of transformation. That's what it sounds like, you know, and you're constantly, I think when we spoke a little while back, Margaret is always trying to break through herself, and she's always taking herself to the next level. And that's one of the things that I really admire about her, is that even though, and this is a lesson for a lot of people as well, is that it's not always about what happens to you. Sometimes we're born into an environment or with people that are not serving us, and do deplete our energy, and we throw ourselves into work or family life or things that are outside of ourselves, that we feel that either it's like a society expectation and we're going with the flow, or it's just something that we think we want, but we actually haven't really questioned it. But I think the key is that if Margaret has been able to, you know, come from places of crises on multiple levels within her life, then, you know, it is possible. It is possible for all of us to do the same. But everyone's journey is going to look a lot different of how she, you know, you go about that. And obviously you can tell that she has gone a new level where she's gone all the way to the Dead Sea, and actually had that sort of immersive experience to be able to get herself into recovery, to find the courage that she needed to keep going. So that's incredible.
And that's the thing about courage to crisis, right? You know, you're talking about the physical aspect, for example. There was a time in my life where I was 20 kilos overweight, literally. You know, I'm currently working in corporate Australia still. So, you know, juggling that life as well as finding yourself and all the things. It's stressful, right? You get it. A lot of people don't even realize that stress is a thing, and sometimes stress doesn't come out in, you know, meltdowns. Stress is an underlying factor that I didn't even realize I had. It was when I went to my acupuncturist, and she said, "Have you had 8 coffees before coming here?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Your stress level is through the roof, right?" But I was just doing all the things. You know, I was managing the job, the relationship, all the things. But then realizing, like, this is not the way to live, you know. On a physical level, I was overweight and I had to make a physical transformation there. So you're talking to somebody who couldn't walk around the block at one stage in her life, and then went on within 3 months to do 𝗙𝗵𝗲, because I just love to challenge myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I went through a breakup at the same time that I was in that stage of being overweight, and thought, instead of using my emotions to I don't know, eat myself away, I use my emotions to fuel my goal of getting up to that half pipe. So if there's anyone out there that's done 𝗙𝗵𝗲 before, you know what it's like. You're looking at this half pipe, which is like a 10-meter wall. You've got to like run up and, you know, pull yourself up there. It's a massive, or
I think
even
I might have seen that before somewhere. Is it like kind of you're on a rope and you have to kind of just climb up over it?
Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah, like if you've seen Ninja Warrior, that's, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah, something like that. And you're like, are you pulling your own weight, or is it like kind of lighter because it's sort of got...
it's your body weight with a little bit of help, but
Oh, okay. Wow.
I guess my point is that's the physical aspect, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the emotional aspect. How do you go from being totally depressed to be totally motivated, right? You can't do that unless you've got some sort of guidance. Like I said, I'm so grateful that I had a coach to help me through that, because I didn't know what shadow work. I didn't know what timeline was. I didn't know what, you know, boundaries were. Those sorts of things I learned through working with a coach. And you know, this is one of the reasons why you and I have decided to just lean on our story to show people that it's not that hard.
So just frozen for a sec. And we are back. Yeah, you were saying it's not that hard. Yeah, it's not that hard.
I was talking about the the journey from crisis to courage. So people like you and I who have had things happen, and it doesn't have to be like a full on like whoa
meltdown
story
or some like it doesn't have to be so distraught, but
that's right.
There's an element of stress or something in there.
Yeah, it's actually something that I learned in 𝗙𝗂𝗃 challenge, 𝗙𝗂𝗃 video challenge. Going from A to B, you're just doing life, you're happy, la da da, all that happens, and then you hit crisis point, but you don't have to sit in the crisis point for that long with the right tools, and whether it's coaching or physical, whatever aspect it is that you're living your life, there's ways that you can tap into ways to basically just not sit in that point for as longer than you need to. It's one of the reasons why I've decided to become like yourself, a mentor and help people. Like I've been there, I've done that. I know what you're feeling, I know what you're thinking, I know what you're seeing. You feel like it's impossible, and I totally get that. But there, like I said earlier, I wouldn't wish anything that I've been through upon anybody, right? It's just human heart to heart. You just don't want that for anyone. But at the same time, I wouldn't change anything, because it's allowed me to learn and experience and understand the tools that I can give to people to be able to, from a bigger holistic perspective, see the situation that they're in, and realize that it's not easy, but it is simple, like 𝗬𝗶𝗍𝗍, and that's why I called my program the 𝗬𝗶𝗍𝗍 method. It should be, for some reason society's made it feel like, made people think that it's really, really difficult to change. But if somebody's willing to really become aware of themselves and really come to terms with and become present and really accept who they are, really have that deep look in the mirror and say, okay, you know what, shit's not very good today, excuse my French, and I need to do something, and they make that decision. As a mentor and as a coach, I never push people, I never change their values, I never do any of that stuff. But if they make the decision and they say, I just need that bit of guidance, I don't know what to do here emotionally, I'm stuck, I'm not sure how to go there, how can I think about going on all these holidays if I can't even afford to put petrol in my car, those kinds of things. So what I love about making the shift from being unconscious to becoming conscious, and it was in that period of becoming aware of 𝗖𝗍 𝗿𝗃 and all the tools that I've learned in the process up until now. It was exactly that, having an awareness of who I was and accepting where I was, instead of trying to hide from myself and be somebody that I was not. I was just being me, and this is why I love allowing people the space and time and freedom to just be who they are. Forget what society's saying you need to be. Forget what your mum and dad said you need to be. Forget anything everyone's ever said to you. Be that little beautiful child that you were. Like me as a kid, I was crazy. I would jump on the garage roof, onto the trampoline, do crazy things like that. But as an adult, why has that stopped? I went to a trampolining center a year ago. People have forgotten to live from their heart, use their imagination, be creative, and really just be the inner child inside them. That's what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, I feel like, this is just me speaking personally, I feel like the older we get, the simpler life becomes, because we learn to just express ourselves from the unconscious mind.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there for me, is that I'm finding that more and more as well. That's an interesting point, because I think me 5 years ago probably still thinking that as you get older, you sort of feel like it gets more complex. It's like, oh, then I have to deal with more things and make more decisions and take more responsibility. And then, then it's all these expectations that your family has, then you have to have a family, then all of these other things, get a good job, make money, and it seems like a lot. But then I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to own more of who I am and my own sort of personal power, where I feel that I am learning to use my voice more about, I have my boundaries, and I say what I want to say, wear what I want to wear, like just being more me, maybe even more a child myself, having a bit more fun actually. And I'm finding that like despite all the challenges that goes on, you know, every day or as life goes by, in a sense, you're right. Like it kind of does get a bit easier. Only if you kind of own yourself rather than letting like blaming the world or letting other people take your personal power away.
Yeah, and you know, there's that famous quote. I forget who said it, but it's like, what other people think of you is none of your business, right? As a child, you didn't think about what other people thought of you. As a child, all you wanted to do was, you know, you have this crazy idea. Okay, today I'm going to fly and literally jump off the couch, and I'm going to be Superwoman or Superman, right? And all you wanted was your friend to do it with. So as adults, why did that change? You know, why has that shifted? It shouldn't. And I understand that, you know, in the way that the world is today, or maybe not today, it's been interesting living through 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, it's been one of the best years of my life, because even though we haven't been able to go outside, it's allowed us to go inside and find who we are at heart. You know, who we are at heart, and who we were born to be is who we should be. But for some reason, like you said, you know, people are like, oh no, you know, look, I grew up in a traditional Asian family. So you're either a lawyer or a doctor, one or the other, right? If you don't go to school and you don't get grades, you're complete like
You're a failure.
outcast. You're a
Yeah.
failure. Like,
Yeah.
don't want to talk to you, da da da. You know, but that's the thing. We don't have to be anything that we're labeled. You know, you don't have to do any of that. And the crisis to courage story doesn't have to be like in a you know, extraordinary story. I've got some amazing guests on my podcast that are coming on and sharing that. But I mean, the crisis to courage could be where I started. You know, where my parents started. You know, some people are in a situation where all they have is an income that's supporting them from the government at the moment. You know, and there's no shame in asking for help. If that's available for you, please do lean on that. But I've also worked in social housing for 5 years. So seeing people take advantage of the system, as opposed to a beautiful young couple who took the opportunity to get the assistance from the government, you know, have that housing at a subsidized cost, and being able to also, you know, save a deposit and get their own home, and now they have a child and they're married.
Wow.
You know, that's a crisis to courage story as well. It doesn't have to be like what I went through, extraordinary, you know, and I'm not anybody special. Everybody's got their story,
That's their own journey.
Exactly. Everybody's got their journey. Everybody's got their story. But I guess what stood out to me was the importance of having those emotional tools. That emotional toolkit is what's going to separate you from reacting to something versus responding to something, right? When you're reacting to something, it's like that animal instinct to, like, you know, fight, flight, or eat it, or maybe that, or whatever. Whereas when you're responding to something, you've actually just sort of floated above and seen, okay, what is the purpose or intention of actually of this situation? What can I learn from this? How can I benefit from his angle, her angle, my angle? You know, just having a different perspective around what it is that's happening. So if there's people out there that's going through something right now, think about that. It's not happening to you. Nothing happens to you. We're just vessels. We're just messengers. Life's just happening for us, right? But what's something in your life that's showing up right now? Because when we attract people, we attract our mirrors, right? It's something, or a lesson, or a message, or something that's happening because it's something that you need to hear, instead of reacting to it and, you know, having a fit or a hissy fit. Like, try to think about it from the perspective of, why did I attract domestic violence? You know, why did I attract being abused as a child? Why did I attract, you know, 3 years ago, I went to the petrol station. I didn't have $10. I was like, what do? Do I eat? Do I fill up the car? Why did I attract, you know, financial scarcity, the scarcity mindset? If people can come to a realization that the help is there, you know, if you need help, there's always somebody that you can speak to that won't judge. And this is why you and I love what we do, because we're not here to judge. We're here to listen. The door is open. You know, we want to create that space for people to be able to say, oh shit, like, I've gone through this, I don't know what to do.
And we're back. Oh, not yet. Just give it a moment. Give it a moment. Oh, we're back. We're back.
Thank you, internet god. Please be kind.
Yeah, so I think from what you've said so far tonight, a couple of things are coming up for me. The first one is that we need to make a decision. I think, actually, let's just go even back further. The first step is really just becoming aware of what it is that is going on for you. It could be whether it's like a good thing or a bad thing, but just having some awareness of yourself and what the situation is. But then the second thing, and then correct me if you know these steps aren't in order, but then the second thing is making a decision about it. So then what are you going to do about that if you know things are happening like to you, although you said it's for you, not really to you. But as an average kind of person, I would just think that, oh, I blame it because this person's not giving me what I want, or like this situation's giving me bad luck. Oh, you know, there's an easier way to sort of put the blame on something else. So making a decision about it. Potentially now what's coming up is not being a victim. You know, like when you start to blame, I find that that's more like you're then becoming the victim yourself, that it's happening to you, but it's not.
Naturally your ego, you know, your ego and your unconscious mind is there to protect you. So, you know, the first stage of an awakening is always just that level one. It's survival mode. The first person, even if you look at airplane, the first person that you should ever save is yourself, because once you're, you know, you've ironed out all the kinks and you're good, then you can serve so many people from that space. But like you said, you know, becoming aware of what's going on and then making that decision to not be in that situation, you know, to make a different decision. It's so important. And please continue. I interrupted.
Oh no, that's all right. All good. All good. I was going to say, I love the aeroplane analogy, because that's one of the things I like to think of as well when it comes to self-care, self-love. That whole like think of yourself as a passenger on the plane. What happens when the pilot's like, okay, we're going through turbulent. You know, put your mask on first as an adult before you even put it on your child. Because if you pass out, how are you going to help anyone else?
That's right. And if you apply that to every aspect of your life, you know, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, you can't help anybody unless you have the emotional intelligence, stability, and you're strong at your core to be able to help anybody else, you know. It's so important.
Absolutely. So I've got to go back to my steps again. So what do we have? We had, so being conscious, being consciously aware of your situation, making a decision about that to be in that situation or to change. And one thing that you said, really important, asking for help. There's no shame in asking for help. And like you said, there's tools, there's choices, there's things available for everyone. It's just a matter of, you know, like which one is more suitable? What do you want to do? Yeah. But I think
find someone or something that you resonate with, that you trust, that feels right with you. Think with your heart, don't think with your head, right? And ask for help. There is no shame in ever asking for help. And I say this because, you know, when I was 19, I tried to take my own life. I didn't know that there was other people that I could lean on and ask for help, but there's so much help out there. All you need to do is ask the question. So if you're struggling out there, please just reach out, you know, have a conversation. One conversation can change your whole life.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Even like us having one conversation, that kind of like offered me some perspective in that I'm not alone in this. You know, there are other things, there are other stories, there are other journeys that people are having, and people are having it harder than me. and it gives me so much gratitude of like that. Sometimes it's a bit strange, but like you said about not regretting like what has happened, because I think for me is part of it, is my past is part of me. It doesn't define my future, but certainly it's helped me build that resilience. And I think if it wasn't for the pain, just like yourself, if it's not enough pain, there's no motivation to change. Actually rhymes. But anyway,
there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess not being afraid of pain. I mean, sometimes I know that like, you know, people out there who are in a painful situation and feel a lot of stress. Sometimes when you're in the fog of it, you can't see outside until you've kind of gone over that. But know that there's tools and there's people available to help. You just have to ask. And I think that also ties in the fact that when you said before that life gets easier as you get older, for me, one of the big things is asking for more help. I find like I'm not afraid to ask for more help, and that's why I've been able to progress as like fast as I have been able to in different ways of my life, is that I'm always just like I'm not afraid to ask, because there's always someone that can help.
Look, there's no such thing as a stupid question. And the thing is, if anyone watching knew me from 3 years ago, they would know that there's no way in hell that I would ever jump in front of a camera, say what I think, all of that. When you're in that situation and you're that just depressed and depleted, and like you feel like the whole world is against you, like it's like me against the world, right? It's not an easy thing, right? But I want to share with people that it is possible, because one of the things that I did to go from crisis to courage was step out of my comfort zone. And, you know, going through what I went through, it was really hard for me to use my throat chakra, use my voice, like say what I was thinking, because I was always depressed as a child, as a woman in that relationship. All of those things added up. And I'm like, nobody wants to hear my story. You know, I'm not special. Nobody wants to see what I've been through. I don't want to be that, you know, victim, whatever. But the thing is, the more that you share your story with somebody else that's listening, and I have to thank my friend Amanda for this, because one day she said to me, let's all get together at a beach house. We're going to go around the table and we're just going to share the things that are bugging us at the moment, you know. Being able to use your voice is very powerful. You know, one of the reasons that I love what I do at the moment is because sometimes as a mentor, as a coach, as a friend, as a mum, as a child, it doesn't matter what your title is, right? Giving people the space to be able to be their voice sometimes when they haven't found theirs yet is helping them too. You know, at the start, it's like, I didn't want to be on Facebook because I didn't want to be seen. I was ashamed of what I went through. And like, you know, oh my God, I went through domestic violence, and, you know, all that sort of stuff comes up, and you're like, all the shame, fear, guilt, hurt, anger, all those things come up, right? But then when you realize, like, we're just human beings. You know, I'm not anybody, you're not anybody special. Yes, we are unique, but you're not special. Unfortunately, it's way too common, but, you know, we don't look at that aspect of it. Sometimes people just need a safe space to open up, right? That's all they need. They don't need your advice. They don't need your whatever things you have. They just need a space to open up. And once they do that and their heart cracks open, this is what I'm all about. I'm all about opening hearts and opening minds, right? When your heart is open and you're not scared to be who you are, you're not scared to say what you think and all of that, it's a beautiful space, but it takes time. So I want people watching or listening to realize that, like, it's, you know, allow yourself to stuff up. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, because it's the vulnerability, and Brene Brown talked about this, it's the vulnerability that allows you to find your courage, you know. And then from that point, from finding the balls to, like, I used to be scared of skydiving, jumped out of a plane, you know. But it doesn't have to be that extreme. From that courage, it's only then that you can get out of your own way, and then use that creative imagination that you had as a child to plan whatever it is that used to ignite you and make you happy as a child. People forget to do that, you know. This is why I'm all about the inner child. Like, you see me on the weekend, I'm jumping on the trampoline and doing all kiddie stuff. You know, my intention is to find people that I can stay young with, not grow old with.
Yeah, and I think, like, with I guess with women, sometimes it is a little bit shameful. I've had some experiences with other friends that where as they get older, they get more afraid to share their age, or, you know, it's like shameful to get older, or like losing their body, or, you know, but I'm more the opposite. I'm like, well, I'm 31 years young. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I got a long way to go, even though I've got some clicks going on constantly every day. But I think that whole, like, you know, we've got to embrace ourselves at each stage, no matter what sort of the hardships or what changes we experience with our bodies, with our minds. But I think that's the gift of life, is that it's a journey, and that it is okay. You know, like, and for me, it's more like I get more excited because I'm getting smarter every day. I also feel like I'm getting wiser. So I'm loving that aspect of getting older as well. So there's nothing to be afraid of, you know. Yeah.
I love that. We are timeless, we are ageless, and we are limitless. There is nothing, you know, it doesn't matter what you believe in. If you can believe in that, then that will actually give you gratitude every day, you know. It doesn't matter what age you are. I'm 40. I turned 40 this year. I don't feel 40. I've got a sister who's 12 years younger. You know, people look at us and they're like, oh, you? Yeah, I'm the younger one, you know. I'll take
you got
that.
so much energy. Yeah. She's jumping on trampolines at 40, like on the weekends. That's what she does.
And that's the thing though, like, you know, people ask me, what do you do? What do you take? Whatever. I don't drink coffee. I don't take supplements. I don't do any of those things. My zest for life comes from inspiration with what I do and how I serve. You know, it's all the things that I've been through up until this point that allow me to do what I love, because I love it. Like, you don't have to pay me to read a book, because I just love learning about how can I help somebody. At the moment, I'm reading Walking with the Tiger.
Oh, okay.
I'm learning about, I'm learning
about non-fiction?
A non-fiction study on trauma. There are so many levels of trauma, you know, like you don't ever have to ask me to read something about something, a topic, or, you know, that is going to help somebody where I was. Like, my goal is to just impact people and inspire people. Like I said, I'm nobody special, but I know the emotions that you've been through, and that's all it comes down to, the essential emotions, right? Everybody's felt sadness, everybody's felt happiness, everybody's felt, you know, frustrated or fear. Like, all those things happen, but there are ways that you can maneuver around them. It's literally an obstacle race. Like, you can get over it, get under it, get around it. But some people don't know how to do that, and that's where we come in. You know, like, it's not easy, but it is simple. If you're coachable, and if you understand, if you really make a decision within yourself to take extreme ownership and really be who you are at heart, and you want to change your situation, by all means, you can. If you don't want to, that's okay too. There's no judgment. People are free to be exactly who they are. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You know, like, I'm 40. And that's 10 years ago, if you said that to me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting older, you know.
How's it feel now? Because, like, how does it feel now? Like, you say that from before and right now, I mean, has it, like, changed a lot for you? Like, how does it feel now that you say it out loud?
It is just a number, to be honest, because I mean, I look at the last 3 years of my life and what I've done, the people I've met, the experiences that I've had. You know, you can have that at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. It's not about the age. It's about the experience that you have within the age. You know, you can have a person that's lived up to 75 that hasn't traveled to 10 countries like I have in the last 3 years. You know, I've been able to turn my crisis story from, like, literally 3 years ago, I was $50,000 minus in debt. You know, I just emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, all the things were like minus. But through doing the inner change work and surrounding myself with people that were thinking about things that were bigger than themselves, you know, that weren't in survival mode. And I've had to lose friends along the way. It doesn't mean I don't love them. It just means that they're on their journey. I'm on mine.
Well. Yeah.
We still love each other. We just send them on their way. You can have a life that you know, we've actually got the capacity to live to 160. You've got to have optimal
Really?
health to do that. We do.
Okay.
You know, if you rewire yourself to do that, you can. But look, realistically, I don't know, maybe like
I
90,
think
maybe.
personally, for me, I reckon it'd be a lonely life, like to live so old as well. Like as in, if you go through so many phases where then I guess the most important people in your life kind of go, and then I think
You'd have to become.
personally, like unless if I had a really like big purpose to kind of from 100 to 60, maybe like 60 years of like impacting the world in some way, hell yeah, I think that would be great. But I think, I don't know, like, because we're not at that age, but as you go through life, sort of seeing everyone pass.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying I'm doing that. I'm just saying it is possible. Like you can have somebody that lives up until 75 that hasn't lived a life of someone that has lived up to 40. You know what I mean? So it just depends on their quality of life. And again, there's no right or wrong. It's just, you know, we're all consciousness. We're all just perceptions of consciousness. We're all just doing life and walking each other home. We're just
and we're all in our own vessels as well. So I think the key as well is that I think of it from what you're saying as well, in that opening the heart. Like if we can get to the heart and the core of who we are, then the outside doesn't matter so much. You know, our body will get more fragile maybe over time. Everything physical changes, the world around us changes. But if we are truly connected to ourselves and our heart, then we are connected to our own power. So I think that that's what, you know, everyone like should go and find for themselves, or unless they've already found it. But that's something I think is so important. Yeah.
Making the journey from your head into your heart is the best journey that you could ever make, because, you know, you know, we're born, we go through life, things happen, we're conditioned, the ego steps in, your head's always like, you know, how many times have you had analysis paralysis where you're like, no, I should do this, no, I should do that, no, I should whatever. Kids don't have that. They just think, oh, I want an ice cream. You know, they don't think about
present in the moment.
I'm not going to put on weight. I'm going to, like, it costs this much. I've got to chase the ice cream man down the street in the truck. They don't think about that. But for some reason, adults do. So if everyone can just really get real with themselves and be honest with themselves and just take a look in the mirror, it's not about judging yourself. It's about, you know, saying, where am I right now in my life? Am I happy with who I am? And is this the quality of life that I want to live? And if not, how can I make that change? If they start asking themselves that question, like, who am I? You know, why am I doing the things that I do? You know, it's not about judgment. It's about having that awareness. And then once you have that awareness, making, like you said, making the decision to stay where they are, which is completely fine. If somebody wants to do what they're doing forever, that's totally cool. You know, as long as you're happy within yourself. If you're doing something because somebody else said you should, then
got to look at that.
That's not making you happy, then maybe it's time to think about it differently, you know. But yeah, it's all about making that journey from your head to your heart and just coming home to yourself, like really just really living your truth, speaking your truth. None of this is scripted. We just started speaking, you know.
Yeah, we come from our heart,
keeping it real. Like, yeah, we're just the girls next door.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to connect more with themselves, their inner child, or if you want to connect to your heart, or you want to talk about mindset and how you can make shifts in your life, Margaret and I are the people to help you. But I think for today, Margaret, if people want to find out more about you or the work that you do, where are the ways that they can explore you?
So I'm in the process of building my website, emergeinternallyflawless.com and .com.au. You can reach me on social media. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. I can share after the live's finished my phone number or email address or anything. But I've got a calendar where you can book yourselves in and just have a chat. You know, it's not a commitment or anything. Just have a chat. It might be something. We could have one conversation, and from that one conversation, just one phone call, you know, you make a decision that changes you. I didn't get into this work to, you know, become the next Tony Robbins. And my God, he's done amazing with what he's done, or the next 𝗖𝗿𝗶𝗀𝗲. For me, it's about allowing the space and people for just really to feel into themselves. You know, if they can have the change that I had, just by thinking differently, with whatever that means to you, reach out, you know. Again, on Facebook, social media, you can reach me, and I'll drop in the comments in this live my links and phone number and Calendly if you want to reach out.
And if anyone has questions as well, feel free to drop it, because we'll get back to you on these. Let's just have a quick check to see what we've got on the Facebook. If there's any questions? Still not really getting used to this Facebook. I can't expand the comments. Can you see them?
Yeah, we know we're Gen Y, but we're still early Gen Y. So
anyway, for this,
look, if anyone does have if there's something that's resonated with you and you want to find out more about what we do, like in the last 6 months I've, you know, certified. I actually got my certificate today as a master practitioner in NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and I actually last week just won a quantum flow certification. So if you don't know what quantum flow is, that's all about, it's kind of like Tai Chi meets dance meets breath work. So you know, bolting all of those components in is so important, because look, somebody might not like yoga, but they might like this, or they might not like the NLP, but they resonate with the hypnosis side of things. So, you know, as a mentor and as a coach, I try and bring to the table anything that helps the client. It's not about me. It's about really hearing and unearthing what it is that it'll allow you to emerge the best version of you. So if I can help you do that, reach out, you know. Like I
Margaret's
said,
you've got a lot of tools there, a lot of certifications, a lot of knowledge in that space. So definitely, if anyone is stuck in any way, have a conversation with Margaret.
Or Pauline, you know, she might look sweet, young and innocent, but this girl has a lot of...
I can go into the core as well, and we can untap a few things and rewire and unlearn and relearn.
Like you said earlier, age is nothing but a number. You know, when I got on the phone with you last month, or was it the month before? I forget. You know, disorientated with all the time. I was blown away by your story. You're so young, and to go through all the things that you have been through in that short amount of time and it's deep. Yeah, I'm not going to share your story. It's your story to share, but it made me cry. You know, and I'm a pretty resilient, tough skinned girl because I've been through a lot. But for me to just really feel that, and I don't talk rubbish. People that know me know that I'm straight up. I have a heart of gold.
Yes,
I have a heart of gold, but and there's a time to soften, but there's also a time to be really firm. And yeah, Pauline, your story just, you know, I don't have any words about what you've been through and who you are today as a result of that, and why you've chosen your path and your purpose, and why you're doing what you're doing.
So absolutely, it's an evolving journey for me, and I think everything that's happened for me in the past has really come to a point where I'm now wanting to give back to people in the same way that you are, and trying to, I guess, get to the heart, get real with people, so that we can all sort of awaken to the new consciousness of ourselves and take more control of our lives and be happier. I think for me, the biggest thing is that makes me happy is finding fulfillment, and my fulfillment comes from helping people find theirs. And at this stage where I'm at, it's all about, you know, how do we achieve and change the mindset and reframe for people the way that they think, so that they can act and behave in different ways and change the outcome in their life. So, but like yourself, it's a constant, as a coach, constant building blocks of tools that we acquire over time, and we're here to serve. I think that's my main thing, is that, even though yourself and I have different sort of disciplines and different personal experiences, but the purpose is all about serving and helping people at the end of the day to be happier with themselves.
Absolutely. you know, it's not hard to connect to people heart to heart, and that's really as easy as it should be. You know, having a conversation with someone that you can see struggling is as easy as, you know, how can I help you? That's it. You know, you might be able to just, I don't know, some people just want a cupcake, whatever it is that, you know, something really simple. But yeah, you know, one thing that struck out to me, which one of my coaches said to me, was, if you wouldn't say it to a child, don't say it to yourself. That's something that you can, that's something you can apply and just say in the morning, you know.
How we speak to ourselves is really powerful. And so using words, you know, I find that people are more generous with others than themselves, and using the power of words, you know, affirmations, like things that you tell yourself. If you wouldn't say it to someone else, don't say it to yourself. That's really
Absolutely
powerful.
It's all in the self-love and the self-care. You know, some people just need guidance on how to do that. Like I shared earlier, I didn't used to meditate, but now I can't do without hypnosis, meditation, you know, the self-talk. And if you look into the science of it, you know, Emoto has done a study on how you speak to water and how that affects the crystals. So you know, I didn't want to get all sciencey and technical on people. I just wanted to share that if you're going through something that's not making you feel good, there's a way for you to feel good. Just reach out and have a conversation. A conversation costs you nothing, but it could save you a lot, you know. So please do that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for spending this evening with me, Margaret. Really appreciate you sharing all of your wisdom, your stories, and all of the, I guess, the practical ways of you know, helping people move from crisis to courage and being able to transform their life. And you are such a special and incredible human being, and I know you're going to change so many lives in this world. So I wish you all the best, and I want to have you back on. We can maybe discuss other topics that are life changing. But yeah, this is awesome. It's been awesome for me, and I had a lot of fun tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, we can definitely talk for hours, being women and being, you know, in the line of work that we do and who we are. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. You know, we had no script. I had no idea what I was going to say when I came on here, but
it comes out, you know, it comes out. Yeah,
it's all about just flowing.
Getting real. We're getting real with people.
That's it. Thank you so much for having me.
Honored to have you. Thank you. All right. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.